needs and preferences. They also offer support to families and caregivers by addressing the unique needs of preteens, teens, LGBTQIA+, neurodivergent keiki, and providing a supportive environment for their healing and growth. STTC helps teens build the skills and resilience they need to thrive and reach their potential. Because we support our congregation through pledges and rental income, we are able to be generous and give 100% of non-pledge funds collected today to Spill the Tea Cafe. There are many ways to give. You can put some cash in the calabash that will be passed around in just a moment. You can always send a check to the church and note that it is for the July Share the Plate program. Or you can scan the QR code on the screen and be directed to a secure giving page on the church's website. Finally, you can give securely by text. This encrypted form of giving allows you to give to the Share the Plate recipient, the church emergency fund, and to make a payment towards your pledge. The offering will now be freely given and gratefully received. Your gifts help support building the beloved community within these walls and without. Thank you for your generosity. I forgot to collect the Book of Life, so I'm going to ask, Allison's going to get it for me. Thank you so much. Even pastors get rusty in the pulpit. The Book of Life is a deep and ancient tradition. Throughout human history, communities of faith and understanding have witnessed together the ways that their shared lives are experienced, marked, and remembered. This community's Book of Life is open to all who enter this place. In it, we invite you to share a joy or a sorrow or an experience affecting you or the shared community. And if writing is not something you are comfortable with, you can always ask the minister or the day's worship associate about what you wish to be shared today. If you need a compassionate person to listen to what is troubling your heart, please go to the church website to contact the care team. The care team includes Martina Queenth, Carla Allison, Nancy Schilt, and Lorraine Fay. And if the need you have involves grief, please speak with me or with Catherine Graham. The sorrow being shared with us today is that Allison Jacobs is recovering from double knee replacement surgery. She requests your healing prayers and healing energy, and she welcomes texts and calls, but not additional visitors at this time. Alongside this stated sorrow, there are surely those sorrows or concerns troubling your own private hearts. So as my hand passes over the congregation, you are invited to speak a word, a name, or a thought about your concern or sorrow that can be held by all of us here now, or hold it close to your heart in silence.
Police brutality.
A joy being shared with us today is that Sherry officially started her business right guides with a W as she does spirit readings. So we are so grateful to celebrate Sherry, and also we know that there's surely some joys enlivening your own hearts inside of this community. So once again, as my hand passes over the congregation, you are invited to speak a word, a name, or a thought about the joys so that it might be shared with all of us now. Once again, you can also keep that joy close to your heart.
Yes, we can.
The bitterness and the sweetness, the sorrows and joys of life are a reminder of the living of these days together. The brave adventure and the holy understanding we share in this journey echo today, as they always do, in the book of life and in the hearts we bring to share here today. May it always be so. Please pray with me. Epule kako. Spirit of life and love, Keakua of many names and beyond all naming, holy oneness that connects each to all, you are with us in this time of prayer, reflection, sorrow, and joy. With us, human, here. Help us to be a community that resists violence and keeps love at the center, compassion in all that we do. Help us be a force of compassion that loves this world into the beloved community that can hold each and all. Help us work to transform this world into one where people get to be the experts on their own bodies, on their own gender identities, that healthcare decisions are made between trained professionals and patients seeking care. Help us change this world so that the politicians that represent us do represent us and our compassion, our love, our joy, our justice. Help them to do the will of the people, and that their hearts might be changed when they don't. Help them to be so moved by a community that knows such compassion. Help us to celebrate the micro victories, the small wins, because some days all the victory will get is a smile, a thank you, a rainbow. Help us to find joy when we cannot know happiness. Help us to be in community when we feel so alone. Help us to be a people who boldly grow compassion, justice, and joy in thought and in action. Help us to be a people so bold as we continue in a time of meditation. As we enter into this guided meditation, I invite you to take a few normal breaths. At any point during this exercise, if the breathing gets too difficult for you, return to this normal breath. Remember to just breathe. I'm going to try 4, 7, 8 breathing to bring some calm to ourselves and to this community. Inhaling for a 4 count, holding for a 7 count, exhaling for an 8 count. If that ever becomes too difficult, again, just return to your normal breath. We begin in 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. Keep it going. One more time. Whenever you're ready, come back to a natural breath. And continue breathing as we hold a silence. Amen. Ashe. And blessed be. Please remain seated for our next hymn, Voice Still and Small. A prayer. O Spirit of love, we offer you our conflicted feelings, our apprehensions and our aspirations, the distanced pew, the changed roles, the fear of the unknown. O Spirit of love, we acknowledge that you are in our midst. Circle this place and make it our own. Keep peace within, keep evil out. May all memories, influences, or power that are not you flee from this place. Two people, each wearing a mask, sit in a chair. May the Spirit of love guard and welcome us as we turn our eyes upon one another. Calm us and settle us. Help us feel at home with ourselves and with one another so that there is no need to pretend. Help us be ourselves and welcome all faces here. The Reverend Dr. Laura Solomon writes, as we collectively attempt to process the trauma, pain, and senseless violence of the past several weeks, I find myself repeating Araceli Grimay's phrase, "You are who I love." I'm thinking about how heavy the world feels and how hard it is to breathe under that weight. I'm thinking about self-care and the ways we talk about it and the ways in which we don't. It's easy to accept the weight of the world's suffering into our hearts and onto our bodies. It is easy to become heavy with the burdens of the world. You are who I love. Many believe that religion is the place where we find answers and meaning to the unanswerable questions. For some, religion is the place where answers to the unanswerable questions about evil and violence, death, injustice, and cruelty reside. My Unitarian Universalism doesn't give me answers to unanswerable questions, but does give me a faith big enough to hold my questions in a place beyond answers. My Unitarian Universalist faith reminds me that it is simply the way of it. Our hearts are meant to crack open under the enormity of grief. Because of this cracking and unknowing, because of this stumbling and holding one another, you are the one I love. Us, human, here, breaking and crying, crumbling and loving, still, you are the one who I love. Your tenderness, your rage, your hope and hopelessness, your justice seeking, your protesting, your loving us anyway. You are who I love. Seated or standing, please lift your voices in song for our next hymn, number 1053, 1053, How Could Anyone? Sing this twice. The Reverend Rachel Longberg offers, in the early days of COVID-19, my older child started to fear venomous snakes. While walking through our neighborhood, he asked if rattlesnakes would bite him. When I assured him that there are no rattlesnakes in Michigan, he asked about vipers. Then cobras, then boa constrictors, then anacondas. We had read a book about snakes a few days before. He remembered all of their names. I offered reassurance after reassurance. They don't live in Michigan. They don't live in Kalamazoo. They don't live in our neighborhood. They can't bite you. I won't let them. I will keep you safe. It was as though in his 4-year-old wisdom, he recognized the uncertainty of everything right now by asking questions that had reassuring answers, even if they are not the real questions at the moment. When he asked about snakes, I could tell him, nothing bad can happen. You're safe with me. I was relieved when he asked about snakes because I can't offer nearly as much reassurance about the big, bad germ, the name we've given COVID-19. The herpetologists among you might know my mistake. There's a rattlesnake that lives near me, the eastern Mississauga rattlesnake. I Googled this later. When my child started talking about snakes again, I apologized for my earlier mistake. It wasn't as reassuring, but it was more honest. In these days when I don't know is the only true answer to many of my child's questions, I'm grateful for a question with an answer, even if it's not the answer I want it to be. Author Zach Norris adds, there are two ways to think about safety. There is a fear-based way and a care-based way. The fear-based model defines safety only in terms of being free from crime and criminals, which is limited and limiting, what I call the framework of fear. The framework of fear has led to the traumatization of not just the individuals who have been targeted, dehumanized, and criminalized, but the traumatization of entire communities. Because trauma is as much a cause of violence as a result of violence, Our current fear-based system paradoxically generates more harm than it prevents in its never-ending cycles of trauma. This moment presents the opportunity to take action toward a culture of caring and policies of caring. A culture of care prevents many harms from happening in the first place by investing in a social safety net or resources, by building our capacity to relate to one another across differences, relationships, and by increasing our sense of quote unquote skin in the game with more vibrant engagement on every level. Care-based safety also means we address harms in ways that hold people accountable and bring about healing, accountability. A culture of care prevents many harms from happening in the first place by investing in a social safety net or resources, by building our capacity to relate to one another across difference, relationships, and by increasing our sense of skin in the game with more vibrant engagement on every level. Care-based safety also means we address harms in ways that hold people accountable and bring about healing, accountability. A culture of care prevents many harms from happening in the first place by investing in a social safety net, resources, by building our capacity to relate to one another across difference, relationships, and by increasing our sense of skin in the game with more vibrant engagement on every level. Care-based safety also means we address harms in ways that hold people accountable and bring about healing, accountability. Safety is not tied to our capacity to watch our neighbors, but rather based on our capacity to truly look out for one another. We are safer when we act together than when we let ourselves be divided. We are safer when we act together than when we let ourselves be divided. We are safer when we act together than when we let ourselves be divided. Please remain seated for our hymn of reflection. I know this rose will open. We'll sing it 3 times through. As we extinguish the chalice, we offer the words of the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. I will begin, and then we will extinguish our chalice flame together. As we extinguish our chalice, we remember that we are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Beloveds, go forward from this place, blessed to do the work of looking out for one another, blessed to do the work of being us, human, here, blessed to share answers to the questions we have answers for, and to hold in doubt and faithful abundance those which might remain unanswered for generation upon generation upon generation. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the ones to do the work of blessing and mending this world. We are the ones gathered here in this community, making peace, making justice, and keeping love at the center. Our worship has ended. Let our service begin. I have no announcements listed today. So if you have something to share, please share with one another during hospitality, and also, as always, look out for our weekly newsletter. I see Juliet is making some motions as if to make an announcement. What do you have to share with us today? Please share about Peggy. We shared about her in the Book of Life last week as well. Come on up to the mic so that the people on Zoom can hear you too.
Peggy Bowen, and she went back to New Mexico. We got her on the plane. But I wanted to let you know her, I think it's like a goddaughter or her daughter. She called me at 4:30 in the morning because she forgot the time difference. And but I said, no, let's talk. And so she is receiving medical care, and they discovered that she had water on her brain. So she had some encephalitic issues going on. So that's why things changed for her. So I just wanted you to know that she's getting the care she needs and things will move along. So to make you aware of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juliet. What a great community where we can continue to care for one another even when we are many thousands of miles apart. As we sing our song of peace, please remember to ask before taking someone's hand. And now, seated or standing, let's lift our voices for our song of peace, Hawaii Aloha.